So Christian, thank you very much for inviting us down today. I'm looking
Chris.
at this, well, fantastic facility. So we're going to talk through products that we're launching on the Nisbets website with you today.
Yeah.
But of course you do so much more as well. So tell us, what's Mono, what do you do, and what's the story?
Okay, so I'm Christian Truby and I'm on the sales side for Mono Equipment. Now, Mono Equipment is the largest manufacturer and supplier of bakery equipment in the UK, and also we export worldwide as well. Mono can trace its origins back to 1947 when a local baker, to where we are now in Swansea, he decided that the bakery process needed some automation to speed things up and to help him with the demand that, quite honestly, he couldn't cope with. So what he did was he developed one of the first bread molders. So you take a chunk of dough, you put it into a hopper, that then goes through some rollers, and out comes your form piece that you then put into a tin and you bake off. Initially, that was just for him, but bakers are quite friendly, so they started going round and they started seeing what Ez had, and they said, Ez, can you make me one? And he was, right, okay, I'll do one. Then he made two, then he made three, and quite quickly, Ez realized, I've got a business here in bakery equipment. So Ez started to focus more on the equipment side than being a baker, but he still had the passion of being a baker within his designs. But what he did then do is then he went through the whole process of trying to look at every aspect and automating that side of it. He was quite successful in that. We were pioneering in the in-store bakeries, and that gave us a massive expansion over the years, and that allowed us to expand our factory into what we have today. And then in 2007, Ali purchased Mono, and we joined the Ali group of companies, which is now 115 companies and has a turnover of 4 billion. So that really does give our customers the belief and the safety knowing that we are part of a larger group, but also we've got the depth of knowledge that we can support local bakers in the bakery industry.
So I think what we'll do is we'll run through the range that we've got here that we're launching on the website, do some cooking on it as well.
Yeah, sure.
Get to eat lots of food. We won't tell you what yet, but it's going to be a surprise. And then hopefully gain some fantastic knowledge on this brand. So if we look at the first product.
Sure.
Perfect, let's go.
So donuts have become a popular line for bakers over the years, offering more, whether it's sugared, filled, or the artisan style. So this here is our tabletop donut fryer. It's the entry range of the fryers. There are larger models offering bigger output. Like I say, it's tabletop, or it can come with a stand as well.
Okay.
It can be single phase or three-phase electrics, depending on what suits the bakery. The tank inside holds 40 litres of oil. And this one can be float fry. So you put your donut in and it floats, and then you turn them over and then you fry the other side.
So that's a manual process in this one? Some of them obviously turn them over yourself.
But we can have a system where attached to this we can have a deep fry system. So instead of the donut floating on top of the oil, which gives you the lovely white ring that we all look for in a donut, there are some bakeries and customers that prefer them to be deep fried. So instead of it frying one side, then you flip it the other side to give you the ring. You can fully submerge it in the oil, and that gives you a deep fry method that we call it. Depending on the size of your donut, you can do between 12 or 16 donuts per fry.
Okay.
Both methods.
Is that an accessory spec from factory, or does it come with it as standard, the submersion kit? Or?
It does come with a submersion kit with it as well. So you will get that if you order that unit.
And I guess in terms of the controlling the unit, it's very, very simple, because it's essentially a tank, and then you put the products in, but it's having the process and the method here in front of you, which makes it that much easier for anybody who's doing lots of donuts and stuff. And as you say, they're very, very popular. Certainly recently, and I mean, we all love a donut.
Yeah, in an entry model, that's right. You just got your time and temperature here, and then you've got your temperature you can adjust by turning the knob to what you want, and then you've got the controller there which sets your time. So you can go up through the times there and press start, and that'll start the countdown, and that will give you an alarm when it's ready to flip to the other side.
Okay, perfect. And I guess going at the end of the process then, which we're going to look at in a second, we've got the jam stuffers as well, which look great. So we'll do them after the donut's done. Is that done warm or is that done cold, or do you have to wait for it to cool down?
Allow the donut to cool down so you can handle it, so the dough doesn't allow it to bleed away. But yeah, so a colder donut is always best to jam with.
Okay, perfect. And in terms of cleaning this sort of product, then how would you go about doing that? Is there a tap or anything to drain the oil, or?
Yeah, on the side there we've got a drain tap which you can open, and that will drain the oil down. The amount of times you have to change that is dependent on the usage, and now we look after the oil within that. Then
Perfect. Okay. And I guess, as you say, it comes with the table without, so you don't have to have the unit with it. You can put it pretty much anywhere as long as you've got the space and the power.
Correct.
Yeah. Perfect. And only available in electric, or can you get gas?
Only electric.
Okay,
Only
perfect.
electric, yeah.
All right, excellent. That's I think we'll move on to the jam stuffers then and see them in operation. I guess loads of people always ask the question, how do they get the jam in the middle? You guys got the solution. Tell us, what's the secret?
There we go. So this here is the Mono Auto Jammer. Like you mentioned, Chris, got your standard donut, and yeah, you can put sugar on there. But the way we go, we like to have something a bit different. So we want to fill it, we want to glaze it. We've got solutions for everything, but this particular model here will inject a filling inside of your bowl donut. The fillings can range from a jam, a custard, an apple, and we can move on to things like a chocolate injection. The key thing with that is, as long as it flows in the hopper, it will inject it. What we can't have in this particulates, so it does rely on a smooth product coming through. Unlike anything, automation that adds into the bakery process of filling donuts is that it's quicker. We'll do 2 at a time. And also, what you're going to get is you can set the quantities of what's coming out. So every time you get in the same amount of filling in your donuts. And what that will do, it'll help the baker or the owner of the baker or yourselves to realize that you're not overfilling a donut and you are getting the right amount every time.
Plus, I guess that's good for things like reference intake information and things like that, where how much sugar's in it, how much, if somebody puts a small bit of jam in and somebody puts a giant blob of jam in, then obviously your information on that product is going to be different. So again, key for success of consistency is something like this.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So you can use it as a program set. So let's say you were using a jam. You can set that so you know that with this product, you want X amount of jam in there. So you can either use that with program numbers, or you can flick through the screen and you can get icons. So in the world we're living in now, a picture paints 1,000 words and easy to show somebody. So this particular on here is Apple. Or you can go through and you can have a manual setting. So you can, if you wanted just to inject something, you thought, I want to fill up as much as I can, you can do that as a manual setting and not be stuck to a program. Or continuous is where that then will just pump your product in for as long as you want it to go through for. So again, the great thing with this unit is it is a 13 amp socket, so it can go into all your domestic sockets that every bakery, every site that wants to use a jammer will have. And the other great benefit to this is that the hopper itself, it has the product, so to change over, literally lift one off, and then the jammer itself stays clean. You lift the new one on, and you're ready to start injecting again with a different flavor.
Perfect. So there's no risk here of any cross-contamination and things like that, because it is literally a completely separate unit, which is good. So just for clarification, is this one size available, or can you get 3 or 4 or 5, or is it just the 2 twin?
This is the size that you've got.
Yep.
We can do another nozzle where you've got a star injector, so it can go into maybe your rings. But in terms of size and the hoppers, that is what you get.
And I guess you can buy more hoppers if you want to have more different flavors, and literally could keep going and going with different types of flavoring. So great. So yeah, a really small, compact solution to a problem that people probably didn't realize they had. But yeah, great option there, and a really good price point as well on this one. I think the last thing to do is to eat some donuts.
Brilliant. So this is a spiral mixer, and this is the preferred mixer for bakers to mix their doughs, whether it be standard doughs, artisan doughs, pastries, cookie doughs. This has become the preferred method of mixing.
So sorry to stop you there. So spiral mixer. So we're used to tabletop mixers, planetary mixers, that sort of go, all that good stuff. What's the difference between a spiral mixer and say a normal tabletop mixer?
Sure. So this mixer here, if you look inside the bowl, what we've got a spiral arm, and we've got a development bar in the middle. That development bar is quite key for working the gluten, working the ingredients, and getting the dough formation there.
Okay.
A lot of entry models don't have that style. so you don't get the development of the dough that you really should have for a quality dough for bakers.
Yeah.
Another key feature then is slow and fast speed, which you can set. So when you put that in, the slow speed tends to blend in the mix,
Yeah.
and then the high speed then will work
Work it
the
out.
dough
Yeah.
and get everything
Activated
activated within the mixer there. On the smaller range, the bowl and the arm will turn the same way. As you go up through the ranges, you can get the bowl to turn the opposite way, and what that does, it blends in the mix rather than working it.
Okay.
And then when it kicks across the high speed, then it then activates the other way, and it develops the dough. So with that, it's got 2 motors, and that helps with strength. Other mixers haven't got the strength because as dough develops, it does become elastic, and it does tend to put some back pressure. Spiral mixers are designed differently, that they've got the strength to repel that.
Yeah. Perfect. So you say there's obviously different sizes available.
Yeah.
This is the one that's been listed, but if somebody does want a bigger one or a larger one, they are available.
They are available.
So what power is this running off? Is this, obviously, I assume this isn't a 3-pin plug that you would get, or is it
No.
looking at a high power?
The smaller ones will run on 16 amp 3-phase power.
Yep.
And then as you do go up to the higher ranges, so they go from 30 kilo to 300 in the Esmach range, we will then go into 32. But this particular model will run on a 16 amp
3-phase.
3-phase.
So that just goes to show the power and, of these machines. They're not, they're designed for processing, they're designed for large output, they're designed for almost industry sort of style bakery.
That's correct.
But as you say, talking about that method of how it operates, that's what differentiates it away from your standard pantry mixer. So somebody's looking at bakery, looking at doing lots of bread, looking at doing fresh things. This is a real sort of contender with what you need to be looking at.
For the bakers, you can set programs. So if you've got a lead baker, he can decide what he wants each recipe to be baked on, to be mixed on. And what you can do then is you can set the slow and the fast speeds. Also, another key feature is our guards now are fully enclosed. Now, baker's asthma has become, over recent years, a concern. But to comply with EU regulations as well as our own, we fully enclosed the guard, so that stops any of the flow and liquid.
That's quite an interesting fact. So I've been speaking to some suppliers and stuff, and working with bakers and things, and they've mentioned how this is you have to have this as an industry standard.
Correct.
So if you're using like the old style, I guess, mesh, like you would protective guards, they're now not compliant. Is that correct?
Not compliant.
Okay. So this is really up to date with what it needs to be in terms of ticking all the boxes to make sure we're nice and safe. So something like this, what sort of warranty would you give on that?
This would be 12 months parts and labour.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And is this sort of stuff you stock, or is it like special order, or how does that work?
We do try and keep some stock, but it depends on what style the customer wants. So if we're going up the higher ranges, we may have to bring them in, but we do carry some stock of these.
I'm just going off the whole customer support style thing. So with Mono themselves, so say they buy a deck oven or a spiral mixer, that sort of stuff. Is there after-sale support? Do you do training and things like that on them?
Yeah, after the warranty period has ended, then yes, you can then ring up our service department, and we can then come out and repair them.
So brilliant. So that's a great overview of this unit that's been launched on the website. Again, if you've got any more information or need more information on it, reach out to myself, reach out to Christian, and we'll of course support where we can. So should we move on to the next one?
Excellent.
Perfect. So the next item or appliance we're looking at is something that I guess we all take for granted. We all go into the shop, we buy a loaf of bread, it comes sliced, jobs are good. But anybody who's tried to slice fresh bread by hand, certainly, if you're going angles, you get thick bits at the top, smalls at the bottom.
That's right.
And this is where something like this comes into its own. So it is sort of the best thing since sliced bread, excuse the pun. But I just want to talk us through what this does.
So as you just mentioned, Chris, sliced bread has become an important service that bakers offer to customers. You are right, some people will like to go in and get their bread and they slice it themselves, but then there are people then that find that difficult and they want the bakery to slice it for them. So the Picomatic Bread Slicer is our entry model bread slicer. It can be tabletop or it can come with a stand. So you can sit that on the tabletop or it can come with the stand there. At point of order, you can choose your slice thickness. So you can pick the size for your blades, whether it be 12, 14, 16, and that ranges from 11 to 18 mil as standard. There are other models that offer dual thickness, and then you can get some that you can variable. You can choose what you want on the screen. But as I say, this is the entry model, which tends to suit a lot of the smaller, medium-sized bakeries. So the way it works is you place your bread in, And then the pusher comes through, and this particular model has got technology where the sensors is going to crush the bread, it eases off, and then it releases the pressure to give you a nice sliced loaf. You take your loaf from the fingers, put it on top, and the bagger that comes with it allows you to bag easily with selection of bags that you may have. Safety's on there. You can't operate the machine with it open there. You're never going to emergency stop. The blades on there will last up to 25,000 slices depending on your crust. Crustier breads, more thicker crusts may bring that down, but as a general rule, 25,000 slices the blades will last for.
Well, that's lunch sorted anyway. So in terms of, is there any maintenance with this? Any cleaning? Do you have to take the blades out and anything like that?
You have got a drawer underneath here where you take the crumbs away. Daily should be a brush down with a brush. Just being careful not to go inside because there are sharp blades there. But yeah, just brush down with a brush and a general wipe over and you'll be okay.
Ready to go.
Regular, you should check the blades, like I say, but once you get to 25,000 slices, if you see the bread is starting to tear and it's time to change the blades over.
Is that something that's quite a simple task to do, or is that an engineer visit, or is it, can you do it yourself?
It would be an engineer visit. We would come out. There is a method of making sure they're all tensioned right, but it's something we do on a regular basis, so there's no problem with that.
Going back to then, obviously changing the blades for maintenance after the 25,000, does that mean, in theory, if you ordered the machine and you accidentally ordered the wrong size, could you then retrofit a different set of blades in for a different thickness, or does it have to stay the same?
It would, in general, be what you order from point of order would be what the slicer comes with.
Okay, perfect.
It would involve a lot of work taking all the parts inside out
To make it
adapt it. So generally, what you order is what you get.
But I guess the bottom line is, if there is somebody who's looking at getting variable sizes, then of course you guys offer that option as well. So as you say, this is the entry one, but from here, the only way is up. In terms of power, so what we're running on this one, is this?
This particular model is a 3-pin plug, single phase, so it'll go into all your domestic sockets, and it'll work fine with that.
So as we continue through the range of the products we're going to be launching on the website, I guess the next one up would be this. So what's this one?
This here is a dough sheeter, or otherwise gets called as a pastry break. So the both terms are used alongside, but essentially this is what the unit is. What this will do, it will take your pastry down. So it'll start off as a big thick block, and it'll take it down gradually to a thin piece that then you can make products such as pasties, sausage rolls, patisserie, croissants, and they all use this method. Now, as the years have gone by, these have become an important part of bakeries because RSI is a big problem. We know more about it, and when you start working with dough, time and time again, it does start to get repetitive. And this pastry sheeter takes away the stress, and also it's labor saving in terms of it can do it far quicker than we can with a standard rolling pin. This particular model is a tabletop and is the smallest of the family. So this is a tabletop version, and what we tend to class them as is 500 width. And then the length then is 500. So that means each side of the belt, 500 by 500, is 500 this way and then 500 that way. They can go up to 2 meters long, some of them, some even bigger. And come in single phase or 3-phase variants. And the way that the sheeter works is you've got a handle on the front, and what you do is you set it to start with, and you'll do one pass, and then gradually you'll bring it down in size. Some products like to be brought down as quick as possible. Some of them like to be brought down in increments, and you go through it that way. Okay, so again, it's one of those machines that were invented to cut back on a repetitive task, I guess, certainly in the bakery world. And then I guess it's going to help with things like consistency as well. And I guess it, again, like we see with a lot of appliances currently in commercial kitchens, is it taking away the fact you don't need somebody with so much skill as a baker, so to speak? This will do the work for you and get you that consistent finish that you're looking for to get the desired results for making your pasties, pies, whatever you're going to do with your pastry, so to speak. So you say this is the smallest one. Obviously, it comes free standard or it's on the table here. Yeah.
With training and this sort of thing, would this be something that somebody's used in the past, or is this something that somebody would be used to using? I think, could we get somebody new in front of it and go, do you know this exists? Do you know what you're doing now is taking you hours, this could save you time and things like that? So is that sort of equations and stuff you can work out and help people make the decision to say that this is definitely a worthy investment because it's going to save us X on labor, it's going to save us X amount on time and that sort of stuff. And then that's where machines like this start paying for themselves, I guess.
Yeah, I think as soon as a customer receives delivery of the machine, of course, we'll give training on it.
Yeah.
But more or less instantly, when they see that block of pastry go on one side, get passed through and come out at the desired thickness that they want, instantaneously, that was so much easier to process than working with a rolling pin and bringing it down. And the benefits are immediate. You know, their arms are feeling better. There's more consistency, like you said, is an evenness across the whole length of the pastry. And it does come with rolling pins as well. So on the larger models, if you wanted to put the pastry onto the pins, there's a method that you roll it onto here. You take the pin away, take it to a table, unroll it, and you cut your shapes, whether it be croissant shape or whether it be for pasty, whether it be for a sausage roll. So yeah.
So I guess we're going back to the bread and butter of Mono and deck ovens. So
Yes.
you historically have big layered deck ovens where you've got big sheet stuff going in, batches of big breads and so on and so forth. But you've now come up with or developed a smaller artisan style deck oven,
Yeah.
which can then go into smaller appliances. People who are making fresh breads, artisan breads and stuff, they can now do this sort of deck cooking without having to have essentially a bakery in the back with all this massive equipment.
Yeah.
So if we go back to what is a deck oven, so a lot of people will think an oven's an oven, you know, a convection oven is a fan-assisted oven. So what is a deck oven? What differentiates this away from a standard convection oven?
So a convection oven bakes by, as the term says, convected heat. So what you've got a fan at the back with an element that's blowing heat around the chamber. And it needs to be quite forceful to make sure the heat from the back does get around the chamber evenly. But by doing that, you are then forcing air through. And what that does tend to do is scratch, which is a term of making bread from raw flour and water, is that does put a skin on the bread. And also, it doesn't rise properly either. So for bakers, they want a nice rise on cakes and on loaves of bread. And we do that by having top and bottom heat, which can be regulated. So you've got top and you've got bottom heat, and that delivers radiant heat, allowing for a perfect rise in breads.
Okay.
And that's why when we see the home baker, when we see restaurants and hotels, most recently want to break into doing scratch breads themselves, their signature recipes, the way they want to do it. The conventional oven that they have in the house, the home, the restaurant, isn't right for the job, really.
Okay, perfect. So going the other way then, so say somebody buys one of these, can they use it for more than just baking, or is it really just for baking?
Essentially, it is an oven. We've got temperature controls here, so the oven will get up to temperature and it will bake, as the bakery term is, or cook, whatever you do place in there. But it really is designed, if we have a look inside the oven, we've got a nice thick resin plate to deliver a nice bottom heat that you need for artisanal breads. So yes, it can, but we have designed it to suit the artisan bread and bakery.
And that's really, again, coming back to the questions you need to ask the customers, you know, what are they going to be doing with it? You know, if they go, I want to buy an oven because I want to do loads of bacon and sausages in the morning, and I maybe, you know, bake a loaf of bread on the weekend. No, this is really geared up for that really good quality, high-end bakery where they want that fresh, as I say, scratch bread, and have the quality that, you know, that Mono offer, but in a compact size where you can essentially plug it in, 13 amp plug and play, and get the results that you desire from this sort of oven.
That's right. Another key part of baking is steam. So to get a nice crust on your loaves of bread, steam is essential. So there are two methods that we have got for this. One is the steam bars there. So what you do is they've now become really hot being inside the oven. You can then pour water into the chamber there, and that'll give you your steam. Or you do have a spray gun. It is an option that you will have to pick, but that's what you would do to deliver steam that way. And then with a combination of your elements on the top and the thick resin towel on the bottom, it gives you that solid heat that you do need to give a perfect loaf. Like when you're baking, so initially you need steam when you're baking breads. So the steam is great for getting that nice crust on your loaf. But then what you do need to do is release that steam at some point. The general rule is 2/3. So 2/3 with the steam being allowed to stay in the chamber. And then the final third then is releasing what's called the damper. When you release that, what you're doing is you're allowing steam to escape from the chamber, and that then allows the product to dry out. Okay. The other beauty with this unit is that it's a 13 amp plug. So it can go into a home, it can go into a restaurant, it can go into a hotel without any major alterations being needed. And we've tried to keep the footprint as small as we can to allow a good use within the chamber of baking capacity, plus making it not so big that you can't fit it in anywhere.
So yeah, perfect. Great little item. I love it. I want one at home.
Thank you, Chris.
I'll just take this one and we turn you around. But no, great. So yeah, should we move on to the next product?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So we've looked at deck ovens. We've looked at the small ones. We've looked at the large ones and everything in between. Convection ovens is something else we spoke about earlier as well, and the difference between deck and convection. So this is your range of convection ovens, starting at the entry level, I guess, should we say?
Yeah.
And then we go all the way through the range. But should we start off with these ones first then, and just tell us what these do and what's different to the deck, and how they can help the customer, really?
Yeah, sure. So convection ovens has become a key line for us at Mono. So in the UK, you will find a Mono oven of some description in all the fast food outlets, in the food to go arena. But it's not just UK, worldwide is big business for us as well. America, Australia. We manufacture ovens here. And then we send them abroad for other people to sell as their own. So it really is a big, big product for us. And with that, you would expect that we put a lot of research and design efforts into making sure convection ovens are evenly balanced, and they can go into a lot of different sites, whether it be size, shapes. But as you say, the compact oven is our entry range. So it can be tabletop. So you can put one oven on a counter. It can be put on a base, or it can be stacked as you see here. With the 3-tray oven, a key important feature with that is that it is a 3-pin plug. So it can go into a lot of domestic arenas, or it can go into easily onto a counter where there's always a 3-pin plug. When you go up to the 4-tray, single phase then is 32 amp power, or on 3-phase it is then 16 amp. But like with our ovens, we put a lot of effort into making sure it is balanced, so you don't have to take the tray out and change it around. You can put a tray in and be confident at the end of the bake that you've set, you will get a perfectly baked product. Inside the ovens there, you've got a fan, and that does bidirectional, and what that will do is it'll go one way for a certain amount of time, and then it'll stop and go the other way, and that's helping spread the heat and distribution around the ovens. Made it quite simple, so you can take the rack out inside to clean by the bolts here, and this front screen here, by just lifting that up, will split, so you can make sure that it's clean. If it is customer face, you want to make sure that the oven is kept clean at all times. The control is the same whether you go for the 3-tray or the 4-tray versions, and you can either use it as a manual setup, or you can set programs for it to bake on there. Again, with ovens, steam is important. So let's say you've got a French stick and you want to get a nice crust on there. You've got the ability to set your temperature, your time, and you can connect it to water, and it'll give you steam as well.
Perfect. So a great solution for somebody, again, wanting a really good, consistent result, but at a really competitive price and have that quality. So this would be a really good option for them. Certainly, as you say, as smaller cafes and places like that where they want to offer, their fresh breads, the fresh baguettes, cakes, what have you, then this is the sort of oven you're looking at. And because you've got that wider tray size, so we're going bigger than 1.1, so 600, 400 tray size, baker size, gives you that capacity as well. But it's actually quite shallow. Okay, you've got the 3 and the 4, but the actual footprint is taken up on a counter, or the back bar, for instance, is quite small for the quality of product you're getting out of it. So perfect. So from this range then, do we go up further?
Yeah, we've then got the next range then, which then goes into our Eco range. So this Eco range you will find so in places like, if I can drop a few names, Greggs, Marks and Spencer's, Tesco's, Sainsbury's. where the output has now gone from a fresh food offering and a food to go environment to more of the oven is more of a core product within their environment. So again, with this one, this particular one is a 4-tray oven. It can come also in a 5-tray variant. It can be hinged, left hand or right hand hinged. You can have it as a 7 or a 10-tray. It can then also be stacked, like you see. This particular product is designed to go onto a base. In the smaller range, like the 4-tray, you can get single phase options on there. So it can work off, albeit not a domestic plug, but it can run on single phase where 3-phase is problematic.
Yeah.
As you go up the ranges, then that does become 3-phase does become a requirement. On the 3-phase versions, like with the other ones there, the fan does it bi-directional, so it will go one way and I'll go the other way, and that helps distribute the heat around and give you evenness of bake as well.
Okay.
We've tried to keep it as user-friendly as possible. The door handle has a 2-stage, so if you notice, the first one will release, that will allow the steam to escape from the top. Turn it again and you open. That just helps with the initial bluster when you open the door. Something that we listened to our customers on and we thought, good idea, we'll make that happen. Inside again, in this particular model, you can take out the racks and then you can split the doors then to clean inside. We do find that a lot of these ovens are customer facing, so having a nice clean oven is quite important for that as well. As you go up through the ranges, you do have this entry model is called the Eco. So we've tried to make it, some customers want it to be as simple as possible. Put your product in, I want it to bake, and that's all I want it to do. But as you go up through the ranges, we've got Eco Connect that allows more of our supermarket style customers to be able to have more control over programs and be able to tell how many times it's been baked, etc., and do some reporting back. On the next one up is the Plus. So if you've got products that are a little bit lighter and need a bit more of a delicate fan coming through, we can have the Eco Connect Plus, where you can invert the fan and turn the fan speed down. And then we have then got the Wash. So what we did tend to find is that we were again asked, will your oven go from cooking baguettes and Danish? Will it now cook sausage and bacon? Truth is, yes, it's an oven. It will cook sausage and bacon, but now you put a bit of fat in there, which not necessarily you want, but it will do it. But as long as you use a gastronome pan, that kind of still the capture of fat, it'll work. Then we're going to ask, will it do chicken pieces, southern fried chicken pieces? Yes, it's an oven. It will get up the temperature. It will cook the chicken pieces. Then we were asked, will it do chunks of beef, chicken pieces, wings? And it's not really designed for that, but we were asked a lot. So what we've done is we have created a wash system then where you can put a capsule in and it will clean it down for you. So we have really got a full range of these ovens, which has become a very popular item for us because we've got all these different strands to what they can do.
Yeah, but and that, again, that comes down to the key point that there's something for everyone. If you've got a problem, I'm guaranteed there'll be a solution in it within the range on the convection ovens that you offer. Even to the large units that you've got, the floor standing ones. So if we could have a quick look at them and show the top end of the scale, and then we can show really the difference between the first step to Mount Everest, I guess, and go from there. So then we step up to the other end of the scale.
Yeah. So
this obviously big oven, big application, large throughput. So is this essentially just a convection oven, or is it other as well?
Yes, it is. So the styles of ovens that we have, deck oven, we've talked about, convection. The other style is called a rack oven. So what a rack oven is that you can put a rack next to you can fill that up with trays, then you can push that rack into the oven and press go. So you haven't got to be there loading one by one with the door open. What we have come up against is that there are a lot of sites where having the headroom and the size to get in our rack oven has been difficult. So we've come up with a solution which is called the static rack, which takes less footprint doesn't need so much headroom, but it combines the efficiencies of our 10 tray oven with our ease of loading of a rack. We found that the static rack is becoming very popular. So whether that be for a bake-off arena where you are doing a lot of French stick maybe, so you want to push a full rack of French stick in, or whether that be things like pies and pasties where you want to produce your pies and pasties and push the rack in. So this here is our static rack. So you see it's hinged. And what you can do then is the chamber opens, and we push the full rack in, you then close the door, press start, and the oven then will start to bake for you. It's got 3 powerful fans. Again, a key point that we focus on with ovens is evenness of bake. We don't want discrepancies from top to bottom, front to back. So our engineers have worked tirelessly in making sure this is a balanced oven, so when you put the product in, comes out and they all look exactly the same. Again, steam is an important part of baking. So what we've got is steam bars on the side that really inject a good quantity of steam into the chamber should you need it.
Perfect. So this is showing the other end of the scale. Obviously the oven's at the start. We're showing the first step into the convection oven range that you've got.
Yeah.
So for the customer, for instance, say looking at getting one oven for a one-stop solution, do you only offer it available in 600, 400, or can we go back down to 1.1 and that sort of stuff?
Like with all our ovens, there is the option there that we can tailor it to suit tray sizes. We've got the chamber, but if it's in with that, like 1.1, we can then have that suited. So we can have a rack that will accept into there and separate trays.
So guys, that sums up our fantastic visit today to Mono. So it just leaves me to say, Christian, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Chris.
For taking the time out, and well, we've got a lot of eating to do.
Super.
Yeah, so no supper tonight. But no, thank you very much again for your hospitality. Guys, again, any questions, any queries, reach out to us. And I'm sure Mono will have a solution for you. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
See you soon. Guys, thank you very much for watching.